Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
Let's start with that last fight, man. 2023 was a year, you know what I mean, of, obstacles, let's say. And then you started off 2024 in Canada with a huge win. But you were getting booed, man. Like, I was tripping out. I expect Canada to be booing somebody. But now that you look back, isn't that funny?
Oh, it was worse than booing. If you listen between rounds 1 and 2, they're chanting "Flick sucks dick."
What?
Yeah, yeah, it got pretty crazy out there. But after, they were big fans.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Yeah, man. After going through what you did, you know, what I mean, returning from, retirement, and then, suffering a couple setbacks, and going out there and having, you pretty much had everything on the line, a contract, everything, and you go out there and you do what you do, and you actually came back and won the fight.
Yeah, man, and Malcolm missed weight. There was a lot going against me in this fight, and we knew he was going to come out aggressive, especially with missing weight and him wanting a new contract as well. And everything was on the line, and I just, I was able to, overwhelm the storm. And in the second round, I found my takedown. I got on top and found that submission pretty quick.
You definitely did, and I believe Malcolm retired after that fight, if I remember correctly. And am I right?
Yeah, he did. I mean, but it made sense with him missing weight back to back fights and then losing his last 3 or 4. I mean, it made sense. I think if he would have made weight and would have won, I mean, of course he would have kept fighting. But with all the circumstance, from my understanding, yeah, he retired.
Did you see that and ever think like, man, if I would have lost, that could have been maybe me?
Oh, 100%. If I didn't get that new contract, it would have been me. I'm about to be 34 years old, and if the UFC wouldn't have signed me back, I mean, it would have been a long, long road to try to get back to the UFC. And on the regional circuit, I could not have went back to regional circuit money and made a living. So most definitely, if I would have lost that fight, I probably would have been retiring as well.
Well, you're not, man, and I'm happy for you, and I'm happy that you got a contract. Was there a little bit of a grace period? Were you kind of worried a little bit, or did they sign you automatic? Did they tell you like, hey, we're gonna get you back on, don't worry about it?
There was a reporter, I think James Lynch
Mm.
is the one that asked Dana White. He said, Jimmy Flick had a tough fight. His opponent missed weight. It was his last fight on his contract. Do you see y'all signing Jimmy Flick back? And Dana White said, most definitely. And even though I didn't get the bonus that night, that was enough bonus for me to know I was getting a new UFC contract. And I firmly believed with my performance I would. So after and that interviewer asking that question, I was very confident I was going to be getting a contract soon. And within like a month or so, we got the contract.
Shout out to James Lynch, man, phenomenal guy. June 15th.
Yeah.
So fight, man. UFC Fight Night in Las Vegas. You're taking on Nate Maness. Hey, Nate, he's a guy. One thing that sticks out about him is that the pictures that come out when he makes flyweight, it's just like, have you seen some of these pictures?
Oh yeah, he's a big guy, man. He's one of 3 fighters to actually have wins in the UFC at 3 different weight classes. And his fight at 45 was during COVID, and it was against a 35er at 145. But he does have wins at 45, 35, and 125 in the UFC.
And what do you think of him and the stylistic, you know?
Oh, I think he's a tough fighter. He's well rounded. I mean, this guy went to a decision with Umar at 135. Uh, I think when you do put him on his back, he's comfortable there, and he doesn't work to get up too much. And I think that's going to be the downfall in our fight. And if he does scramble to get up, I think he's going to give me an opening for me to find one of my submissions. Uh, plan on being in his face. I mean, at my last performance, my stand up didn't look great. So I'm sure he's confident. He thinks he's going to come out here and knock me out. But a lot of people have thought that, and a lot of people have choked out. And this is no different. I'm coming in. I'm going to get right in his face the whole time. He hasn't been out of the first round at 125. So he has 2 fights at 125 where he got submitted in the first round, and then he got the knockout in the first round. So I want to push the pace, and I want to see how big and how strong he is in them later rounds.
Do you think because of the weight cut that he's going balls to the wall from the start, like in the first round, like he's taking chances? Do you see that?
I know. I just think that's just. I mean, he's a very smart fighter. I mean, he's won fights by decision. He's won fights very fast. I just think in the 125-pound division, we're very fast starters. So it's balls to the walls from the beginning. And in his first fight, he got caught in a submission at 125, and then the second one, it was actually a really good, decent fight. He was defending the takedown well. But the Brazilian he was fighting kept pulling for an ankle lock, which was really weird. And I think it worked in Nate's favor. And I would never do anything like that. I'm going to make Nate really work. I want him to use his energy. And I want a 3 5-minute round, high paced, 125-pound fight. And I'm going to do that. And I think I'm one of the very few 125ers that have finishes in the octagon in round 1, round 2, and round 3. So in this fight, it's going to be no different. I'm looking to finish in either round 1, round 2, or round 3.
And then you get round 4 finish, round 5 finish. Further if you think further ahead, right?
Oh, later down, we're going to
Yeah.
pull off that Demetrius Johnson and finish everybody everywhere in every round.
There you go. One thing I noticed that with your training is you wear that breathing apparatus, right? And you're not like fighting in Denver or anything like that. How is that beneficial just while you train? And how does it feel?
Well, first off, let's start off by shouting out Boss Rutten. That is the
Mhm.
Boss Rutten lung trainer 2.0. And I had a buddy that seen me on social media and asked me what it was, and I told him, and apparently I had the old version. And he lived in the neighborhood of Boss Rutten, told Boss Rutten about it, how I promote it, and Boss Rutten reached out to me on Instagram and sent me the new version. So I really appreciate Boss, and I've used that since I started fighting at high altitude. I mean, Las Vegas is 1,500. Here in Oklahoma, I'm 700. So it's double where I live. And I just want to have the best cardio possible. And I feel running with that. There's also breathing exercises you can do. It really opens up your lungs and helps you take in more air, get more oxygen. Really good for recovery, especially to them rounds 1 and 2 and round 2 and 3. And I feel it helps me recover great and get that second wind and really keep pushing that pace.
Yeah, man. And, it's definitely working. And every camp, you have so many people supporting you, right? So many like companies coming together to support you and to sponsor you. Shout them out, man. I know you need, that's part of the game.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And the last couple of fights, I've had all the same sponsors jump on board,
Mm.
and it just makes it a lot easier. So shout out to Harvest Health Dispensary, Tulsa Sport Acupuncture, Minute Plumbing of Tulsa, International Crematory Service, Industrial Motor Services, Parlor Hair and Ink, Broadway Barbershop, Inkwell Printing, HKA USA, Forza Combat Sports and Broken Arrow, My Lawyer Palmer Law, GG2 Sports and Card Show, Vista Pools and Outdoor Living in Kiefer, Oklahoma, Rich Fairbanks with MAJ Mafia, my guy Micah Stockton, my insurance broker, my jiu-jitsu coach, my training partner, my friend, and Sacred Ground Properties. They just jumped on board, and I've been supporting them for anybody having them roofing needs. And so all them sponsors, they come in handy. I'm able to do this for a living. I'm Jimmy the Brick LLC, and if it wasn't for all the supporters and everybody that believed in me, I wouldn't be able to do this full time now.
Yeah, man. It shows something. It tells something about those companies too. Is that they're with you win or lose. You know what I mean? A lot of sponsors, they're only there for the winners, right? To be honest.
Oh yeah, that's very true, man. I've had some come and go, but I have some that's been supporting me for almost 10 years, and I can't thank them enough, man. And it's been a long journey, and it's not over yet. And I feel I got a solid 5 more years at this, and I believe in 2025 I'll be a top contender chasing the title.
Now going to into the preparations for this upcoming fight, is it the same gyms that you're working with, or do you have someone new? Any new faces for training partners or whatnot?
It's kind of been the same for me. My last camp was with Sheepdog Jiu Jitsu. My coach, Micah Stockton, he's a black belt. He's a former Marine. He actually walks around the same weight class as I do. And he's 40 years old, and he's actually doing his retirement fight the week after my fight. So we've been in training camp for this one together. And he's been coming over to Forza Combat Sports in Broken Arrow, my other main gym, with my striking coach Leo Perucci, and we've all came together. And Leo even works with Micah now, and just got his purple belt. And we're adding in jiu-jitsu over at Forza Combat Sports with MMA. So we got newcomers coming up. We got a bare knuckle world champ, LT Laurent Nelson. He's got the bare knuckle, the BYB 160 and 165 title. And this guy is just a monster. He fights in MMA, but can't get nobody to fight him no more. His last MMA win was over Luis Pena over in Colorado. And man, I have training partners that are just phenomenal, that just do it because they want to do it. And I've got this young kid, Nani, that's been coming in, and he's the undefeated amateur. And we got Alexander Hall. And I got a lot of amateurs, and we've got a lot of small guys now. So early in my career, I worked with a lot of big guys, and Coach Leo really worked on bringing some small guys in. And for the last 2 weeks, I haven't went with anybody over probably 145 pounds, and it makes it real good for training. A lot of scrambling, a lot of fast guys.
Yeah, that's so important, right? Like, because flyweight is so much different than even just featherweight. The speed is completely different. I mean, you're going against a featherweight. You're like, man, this be applicable against another flyweight, right? It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it is, and especially flyweights, they can slide out of things, they can maneuver a little easier, and when you go with bigger guys, it's kind of easier sometimes to slide some stuff in because they're a little thicker and a little bigger, and it fits better to your arms and your legs, and there's just so many things to it, and I'm just excited where I'm at, and I believe I'm the only male UFC fighter out of the state of Oklahoma. I do know there's other fighters in the UFC that are born in Oklahoma, but I do believe I'm the only one that fights out of Oklahoma right now. I know Cody Gibson was born in Oklahoma, and so was Tim Means, but I know 100% they both fight out of different gyms. So I'm trying to rep Oklahoma and trying to get more guys to get to the UFC.
Definitely, man. And what's your expectations against Nate? I mean, what kind of fight are you expecting out of yourself?
I want a war. I really want to test myself. I mean, we've seen fights where, you know, I've gotten hurt. I haven't gotten that bloodbath, or I haven't gotten that shootout. And I believe Nate's going to be the fight for that. This is like, I'm very comfortable in the octagon now. It was great going to Canada, walking out 1,000 people. I'm back at the Apex where I fought most of my UFC fights. I know what the scenery's like. They're allowing me to bring 4 family members/friends to come watch, being ringside. I've never had that before at the Apex. So got my dad, my brother. I haven't had these two together to watch me fight in over 10 years. My dad has been back in my corner in the last couple fights. And then now me and my brothers got our relationship back, so they're going to be ringside watching me fight. And it's been a long time since that's happened, so that's very motivating. And I'm just excited to do what I love to do and fight in front of millions of people and for the UFC.
No doubt. June 15th, UFC Las Vegas next is back. He's going to be throwing some bricks. That's what's going to happen. Thank you so much, man, for the time.
I appreciate you, man. I really do. And thanks for, making this happen.